Hey, what's up everybody? It's Ben from Salty Slam Fishing, and today we're going to be going over rod and reel maintenance, and specifically when you're first coming off the water and just proper storing, what you should be doing to protect and get the most life out of your rod and reel. So let's get straight into it.
In the saltwater world, when we get off the water, our saltwater can damage these reels over time if they sit in salt water or sit with that salt water still on them for long periods of time. So what we do when we first get off the water is I like to clean my reels, and by clean I mean I rinse them off. So first off, we're going to get them over here by our hose, and then we're going to take and loosen our drags up. And what I usually do is I'll check it. That's good enough and loose enough. What we want to make sure is that water can get up in there and rinse all that out. We'll do the same with our bait caster. The only difference is we can just loosen that all the way and that's not going anywhere. So then we're going to turn our water on. Get it just enough to where we can do this. This is important. Do not put it on jet. Put it on something slow moving like shower where there's not too much pressure behind it, because too much pressure can mess up the very tiny gears in here. So we're just gonna hit our reel, and we're gonna hit it pretty good all the way around. Now, what I usually do is when they're leaning up against the wall, I'll have them leaning up against my truck when I get home, loosen all the drags, and I'll just hit them just like that. Just standing up just like this, making sure I get everything good. Then we're going to take, if you have it like leaning up against your truck or like a wall, we're going to make sure we hit the rod good too. So I start off at the bottom, come up, make sure I'm hitting those guys good. Make sure I'm getting any salt water from the line coming off, the water coming off the line onto the rod. Make sure we get all of that off. Just with a general wash down. Hit our lures too while we're at it. And this next step is important for bait for your spinning reels. So this area can hold water and that will also cause damage. So what I like to do is I'll hold my main mono leader right here and flip it over. Shake all that water out for a second. And then that's good. And set it up to dry. With the bait casters, you don't really have to worry about that, but I will just real quick to get that water out, and then take them over here to where I let my reels dry out. And then later on, we're going to oil those after they dry out. After you get done rinsing off your reel and it's dried off a good bit, what you're gonna do is make sure that drag's a good bit loose. You're gonna take you some gun oil, or they do sell reel oil, but I like using gun oil because it's what I have lying around. And you just get you a little bit in there. There, it went in there. All right, we're good. And then I just get my drag tight again. Actually, I keep it loose. And what I also like to do, you can get these locally at a tackle shop. It's Real Magic. It's just a oil spray, but it helps you hit a lot of your areas a whole lot more, and it also helps let your line last a little bit longer, as well as reducing the line memory. Usually with braid you don't have to worry about that. With mono you usually do, but I use this on everything. So what we do is we just spray it a good bit. I make sure to spray this too, because that's your roller bearing. You really don't want that getting gunked up or anything. And I just hit all around it, and then I just tighten it back down. I don't tighten it too much. So this is with our storage. I get my drag just tight enough to where I can get my lures snugged up on my reel or on my rod, and they can still be line pulled out. And then when I'm reeling, you can see it gets up pretty well. And then when I'm storing, I have a rod rack like this. So you see I have a couple right here that I'm working on, but that's mainly where I store my rods. Now, I used to store them up against the wall. I see no issue with that. You will over time have some bend in it, but if you can find something similar like this, I believe my wife bought me this for my birthday or Christmas, but it was like
$50. If that's a little bit out of your price range, you can just build you a little wall mount out of like PVC pipes or something to hold your rods vertical. That way there's not really getting a bend in that pole from leaning up on the wall. Now that was how you do spinning reels. Let's show you how we do our casting reels. So similar, and you're going to be putting oil in the drag. This is your drag area. I have it loosened up all the way, and we're just gonna squirt some in there, and you can see it went in there. I also like to loosen the tensioner knob just a little bit and get some oil in there. And then on this worm gear right up in here, I'm going to get that up in there, and then we're going to tighten our tensioner knob back just a little bit. And with that drag loose, I want to reel to get that oil spread around that worm gear like so. So we're just going to spray there, and spray there. And then we're going to reel one more time just to get that all oiled up, and tighten the drag just enough to where that snugs that lure, and that's good. That can go up for storage. Alright guys, so let's say you're like me, and when you're traveling with your kayak, you have your truck bed down, your kayak back here, and you don't really have any room to put your rods back here. So what I do is I store my rods up here in the front with me, which I don't have the truck unlocked right now. What you would do is you would take these are little rod sleeves. They're like $7 at your local tackle store. It's very much well worth it. So you just, this is for the casting rod, you just slide it on there, put it on there. Do the same thing. They make some for your spinning rods too. So take it, slide it onto your spinning reel as well. And what this does is it protects your rod blank, your guides, and the rod tip up here, as you can see. And it also, what I love the most about it is if you have all the rods together, I bring like 4 to 6 rods at a time, and they're all bundled up together. What this does is allow those lines to not cross. So when you bring them out, once you get to the launch, it's not in a cluttered mess that you have to untangle before you even get on the water. So it actually makes it a little less irritating. It's actually one of the best investments I made for traveling while I'm fishing. All right guys, I did want to show you all this real quick. So if you're like me, I store my rod and reels in the garage. And a lot of times these areas can be super dusty. So you might want to protect your reel. So here's a little quick hack for that. If you have like an old sock that you don't use anymore, like let's say you've lost the other sock to that pair, what you can do is take your sock and cover it up. Now it's not the prettiest sight in the world, but it does the job of keeping the dust off of your reel. And you can do this with your spinning reels too, but it's a little bit different with the spinning reels. So mainly what you're going to do is just cover that part. You're not really going to worry about this bottom part because no dust can really get in there, but you're just covering up the bail and everything, just like that. But anyways guys, that'll do it for this week's Wednesday tips. But I do hope y'all enjoyed, and if you do have any more suggestions to help other people out, or if you think there's things that you think I should need to cover, or you want me to cover because you don't know what to do, or you would like a little bit more help on it, leave it down in the comments. And if you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.